of textile craft and creation. So I'm going to present now like a short film which kind of documents the process, and then I'd love to like take any questions after and kind of show you a couple of the products and the things that have been made. Cool.
Okay, everyone, I've just popped in the chat the video that Ellen and JWD made together. So if you just copy that link and head over to YouTube, you'll get the best quality to view it. So we all view it together and then return. You don't need to stop the Zoom. You can keep it running in the background. Just make sure you're on mute so we don't get the background noise. But head over and have a look at the film. It's just a few minutes long.
Neve's just dropped off, so when everyone's had a quick look at the movie, at the film, I'll moderate the questions in the chat if you like, but I can pretty much leave it to you if you reading them and everything. Yeah, but
amazing.
I'm lurking.
That would be great. Yeah, I'll probably show like a couple of the products that I've got here and then ask if anyone's got questions about the stories.
Yeah. I'm the host, but if you just get people to raise their hand, you should be able to see it. But I can just let you know if people have got their hand raised, okay?
Yeah, perfect. Or I'll just get them to pop it in the chat box as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, everyone. So as you start coming back into the room, if you turn your video on, just so if you're comfortable, just so that we know when you finish watching the film.
If you put your view, excuse me, Ellen, to gallery view, then you should be able to see if anyone decides to put their video back on. So the top right.
Yeah, I'm on gallery view, but there's no videos on at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so if anyone's got any questions, if you want to just type them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to start explaining about a couple of the products and a couple of the prints that we created together to kind of give you an overview of those stories. Just give it one more minute, just because the film was about 3.5 minutes. Okay, cool. So one of the first products that we designed together, so that I designed with JWDC, was a small little clutch bag. And I called this bag the Pick Me bag, because I love the way that it symbolized the hand picking of flowers. And the detailing was screen printed, but then it also, so screen printed at the Janakpur Women's Development Centre in Nepal. And then it was also hand painted with detailing, so with Mithila art. And I'm just going to explain a little bit about what Mithila art is, as I'm sure some of you are wondering. So Mithila art is the sort of ancient traditional painting form that Mithila women have. And it was traditionally done on the outsides and exteriors of their homes. And recently, as women's empowerment has been supported in this particular district of Nepal, the women have started making their own incomes through painting on different surfaces. So they started painting on lofka paper, and gradually that's kind of evolved to now being painted on textiles, which is something which I sort of worked with the centre to introduce. So Mithila art can be kind of translated through different forms, such as embroidery. And what I did is worked with my traditional symbolic prints, which is sort of like, I always use the hand in my work and very figurative elements in order to create a sort of composition which tells a story. So yeah, I love like the sort of humor in the artwork. So I screen printed the main symbols, and then they were sort of embroidered and details were added in. So this is one of the main pieces that we developed. And the fabric is also on such a beautiful nettle fabric. So I'm just going to show you like a little close-up of that nettle, which is here, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And this was also sourced ethically in Nepal. So as well as that, we did a scarf collaboration. So I sort of led the project where we illustrated, we did mark making together. And obviously we spoke different languages, but the way that we connected with one another was through expressive mark making, illustration, and through combining our symbols. So this is one of the scarves here, which I think you can see, which are currently being exhibited and actually installed behind me in our pop-up shop in 48 Poland Street. So if you want to come through, we're going to be opening 10 till 8 p.m. There's going to be a little exhibition about the stories as well between now and Thursday, the 29th of April. So I'm just going to show you a little bit.
You're doing an in-person event on Friday, aren't you, Ellen?
Oh yeah, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, so we're going to do a digital, I'm going to be doing it in person, but it's going to be a digital collaboration with the Fashion Revolution Nepal team. So at 10, I think it's 10 a.m. British time, I'm going to be screen printing, and we're collaborating with a Nepali screen printing studio called 108. So we're going to be looking at the screen printing processes and looking more into that as well. So yeah, you can join on my Instagram live at 11 a.m. for the second half of the workshop, which is at Ellen Rock Studio, or Fashion Revolution Nepal as well.
And those scarves, were they hand painted?
Yeah, so they were actually screen printed at the centre, but there's different bits of illustration. So this hand here, this is the Mithila input. So this was one of the master artists who's been at the centre for, I think, nearly 30 years. Sorry, just we're on a busy road in Soho. So yeah, the date, I've just seen about the date. The date of the event with Fashion Revolution Nepal is on Friday. Actually, it's not. It's on Saturday the 24th.
Oh, so sorry, I've just put the wrong date.
That's okay, don't worry. It's on Saturday the 24th, which used to be Fashion Revolution Day, right? And now it's expanded into this wonderful, fully packed week.
Yeah, that's the anniversary, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. But now the activations like run all week and actually all year round, don't they, globally, which is just spreading awareness more and more. So then the scarf also has this detail in the middle, which is hand embroidered. So the women, I illustrated it, and then I worked with the embroidery section to kind of work on getting these intricate details, which sort of look like a print in themselves. So you can kind of see them here.
Does the eye have a significance in that design?
Well, I use the eye and the hand a lot in my work, and this was it was actually Kendall from who used to be part of the British Council team, who recommended the Women's Centre to me, and she said, I feel like both of your illustrations will go really well together and they'll create a dialogue. And she just knew, and that's exactly what sort of happened. And we use these common themes in the prints between both of our work. So there's things like the flowers, because some of the women wake up extremely early and garden, and then there's like keypads which symbolize like modern technology coming into your daily practice. And we called the print daily cycles, so it was like the daily cycle in the life of a woman.
Lovely.
Thank you. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to start talking about this one, which was another piece that we worked on together. So these are actually, I'm going to work on these as kind of customizable patches. So in the shop, to kind of bring back that kind of hand rendered craft to retail, you're going to be able to customize your own bag pouch with some of the embroidered patches with my print embroidered by the women artists. And just, yeah, I love that element of meditative crafting. Like I've always loved that, and it's something I've always wanted to include in my work. So there's like a super tiny little detail of an eye in there that you can just about see.
So someone's asked a question, it's just come directly to me, Ellen, and they're asking what kind of materials you use.
Yeah, so that was a real challenge when I first traveled to Nepal, to be honest, because obviously I was like going to markets, I was asking questions, I was trying to find out where I could get hand woven fabrics or fabrics which were organic or authentic or originated in Nepal. So I finally found Sabah Fabrics, which is a company, fabrics, sort of a fabric, I would say factory, but sort of an artisanal factory in Nepal. And it actually, Binny, who used to work there, is now one of the core Fashion Revolution Nepal team members. So she introduced me to bamboo, and I can actually show you. So the dresses are like a mix of bamboo and woven cotton. And I actually got to see the process of that in the mill, in the spaces in that space of how it looked like when it was being woven. For UK products, I try and use natural and organic materials. Printing is obviously best on organic cotton. But yeah, I really loved exploring different textures. And actually, the thing that I'm wearing is woven in a project that I did in Guatemala. So yeah, I guess I really like weaving. Oh, I've just seen about the inks and the pigments. There's actually a story behind that, because I was really trying to think about what the screen printing setup would be like in Janakpur. I'm a screen printer. I studied screen printing as part of my course at London College of Fashion, but planning a screen printing project from London to the Kua village was a bit of an logistical operation. And I used Permaset, and Permaset were kind enough to sponsor the project. So they're water-based, solvent-free inks. And it's something which I arranged for a donation or a sponsorship to be given to the centre. So the women are actually now using water-based inks as opposed to the very toxic inks that they used to only have available in that region. And another plus with water-based inks is that it doesn't clog up the system. So there's only one water pipe. Wow, Soho's got some live music going on. There's only one water pump in the whole women's centre for about 25 different artists. So being able to kind of clear that out was something which really kind of developed the practice and the processes in the centre, I think. Did
you see much use of like natural dyeing techniques there or anything? Just out of interest?
No, not in Nepal, but I've done natural dyeing. I kind of experimented with natural dyeing a bit in my projects in Indonesia with batik. And it's something I definitely want to learn more about. But no, it was more, I kind of loved how resourceful the Women's Centre was, and they're constantly developing their practices, but everything was amazing. Like the innovation of how to use like everyday materials had been like innovated to be able to use for the processes. So like there was like tractor lacquer that they were using to set the screens, and like everything had been thought out, and like yeah, it was just, it really, the processes and like the level of like adaptation was really interesting for me. How many places do you travel to? So Kriti's asked, how many places do I travel to explore textiles? It kind of all happened over the last 5 years, really. Like I graduated and won a competition to go to Indonesia and study batik. And then I ended up becoming a guest designer with the designer there called Dian Pelangi. And like from there, seeing the process of the textiles to the finished product and actually being able to hand paint and make my prints with these techniques, just like I absolutely love it. So currently I work with Indonesia and Nepal regularly. And I've done a couple of projects with Guatemala and also some Palestinian embroiderers. But it's definitely something I want to keep expanding. But Janakpur Women's Development Centre is really close to my heart because it's a kind of relationship that I've built up now for 3 years. So I feel like that's sometimes how long it takes to get that level of trust and like open collaborative element. So yeah, I'm super excited. And on the dresses, like the collaborative element is my sun symbol, screen printed. And then you can see that we worked with hand painting with the permaset inks to add like a sort of finished, very like literal hand stitched sort of print over the top, which I quite like. Everything has like a sense of humor with it, with the women. Like everyone's like, we just have such a laugh working together. I love it.
Have you got plans to go back once things open up?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm hoping to go back and develop a bit more of the product that we started. And we're also working on a grant application together at the moment. So hopefully that will fruition.
Oh, amazing.
And we just did actually a big digital activation for WOW Festival, so Women of the World Festival in Nepal. So that was cool. Doing like I was kind of a bit apprehensive about doing something digitally because it felt like, how will we be able to create together if it's, but it was really cool. Like the women set up a board and painted alongside me, and then I was painting in London. Hensy has asked, what ink do I use on fabric? So the permaset inks or any sort of water-based inks I use, which is it kind of comes ready mixed. So you can use it, and it's very like delicate on the fabric. It doesn't have any fumes, and so I personally use those. And for how many washes? So it's permanent. Of course, I'll type it now. And it's permanent once you heat set it. So part of the screen printing process is to heat set the print at the end. But if you tune in on Saturday between on the Instagram live, we'll be showing you the full process kind of from start to finish of how you make a stencil and how you apply it to the fabric. And I'm just going to be doing it on some organic t-shirts. So yeah, that'll be an insight.
That's really cool. So everyone can kind of make something along at home. I might have a go at that actually. I'm away on Saturday, but I think I might be able to tune in, get myself
Yeah, that would be cool.
I've got some pretty boring t-shirts at home that could do with a stencil or two, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also doing it in the shop. So the idea is like, if you have an old t-shirt, you can bring it in and I'll screen print it for you.
I mean, I wish I was in London, but
yeah, I know. I'm like, it's so many people wanting to get people to teleport in.
Soon. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, so that's kind of the overview of the story. It's definitely an ongoing one. I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can see, but I'm just going to flip my camera because we're basically creating the print story on the front window. So at the moment,
very cool.
The symbols are going up to sort of create the print story in the window, which is quite funny. But I think the thing that I loved about working with the centre is that it's split into those 5 sections. So it kind of naturally encourages collaboration between the women as artists. So I love the way that they work together. Like the screen printing section will sample something, and then maybe the painters might paint on top of that, and then like the embroidery section might embroider that. But I think like putting the value back into craft is really important, and I think we can do that by supporting product development with existing skills. So I think that's something I'm trying to do moving forward. But yeah, if anyone's got any final questions, if you just pop them in the chat, and otherwise, I guess we can sort of wrap up here.
Shall we just reshare the details for your physical event, since I messed up the date? And then I think there's probably a few people who are interested in watching or joining, or
Yeah,
if anyone's
yeah.
in London.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a couple of events going on. The first one is opening tomorrow. So that's an exhibition of this project, the textiles and the accessories, which is at 48 Poland Street. And that's the postcode is W1F7ND. I'll pop that in the chat box in a minute. And that's going to be open daily 10 till 8 p.m. And you can book via the Eventbrite, which is on the Fashion Open Studio website on my event link. Her hands print story. And then the other digital event activation that we're doing as part of Fashion Revolution Week is a screen printing workshop live with Nepal, which is going to go live at 10:30 on this coming Saturday, the 24th. And that's going to be exploring screen printing processes, and it's going to be hosted by Hausler, who's the country director of Fashion Revolution Nepal. So that's what we've got going on. And the final thing is as well, if you wanted to see the film again, that's going to be screening all week on a screen in the shop. So the idea is people can come in and watch the process while seeing it displayed next to the items.
It's also going to stay on the Fashion Revolution YouTube channel, so it will be put under the Fashion Open Studios playlist. So anyone can watch it anytime if they want to.
Brilliant. Okay, great. Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. If anyone thinks of any questions, you can just message me online on Instagram, or and I'm happy to talk more about the processes. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Nikki. Thanks for hosting.
Just wait for people to drop off. Getting some applause. One sec, Ellen. Okay, sorry, I was just awkwardly. Oh, okay.
Was that really awkward? I feel like that was so awkward.
Hold on a second, let me just stop the